Hello and welcome everybody. This is the largest group for the forum. We have more than 300, nearly 400 people enrolled. So this is going to be great fun. I'm going to start with introducing a few people that you already know. First, Evan is in charge of the Zoom operation. And everybody knows Ernie. Ernie is from my workshop teams. He's going to talk to everybody about some basic rules.
Hey, hello, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful workshop or this wonderful forum. It's the biggest one that we've had so far. So thank you for making it such a wonderful event. A couple of housekeeping things. Please keep on mute. Because there are so many of us, we want to make sure everyone hears every word that is said. And also, if you have a question, we welcome you to put that into the chat function. It's on the horizontal menu at the bottom of your screen. So if you have a question, or if you have something you want to ask Dr. Lam, we have some MTs, STs who are monitoring that, and we will ask Dr. Lam if we can get a response to that. So thank you for your participation.
And next I'm going to introduce Nura all the way from UK. Her and Ernie both stay up late and get up really early to be in both forums. And there are many colleagues and friends being here. I won't go through everybody. First of all, I'm just really excited about this mysterious topic of the choir. I want to welcome my colleagues and friend, Hong Yang, who's one of the most beautiful Tai Chi practitioners, and her Tai Chi shows inner energy, and she also has great understanding of Tai Chi. So it's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to hear her talk about the choir. And then after that, I will also talk about the choir as well. So without further ado, let me introduce Hong.
My turn. Dr. Lam, you finished?
Yes, all yours.
Okay. I'm so honored to have this opportunity to meet all of our Tai Chi friends here, since we did not meet in person for a long time already. Today, a little pressure, but mostly I am relaxed because we have so many friends here, meet here. And I'm trying my best to don't make you disappointed. And second is because my English is my second language, although I'm really confident on my Chinese since I was a college teacher. If you cannot understand me, just make your best guess. And we have a lot of time later on ask a question. So I just summarize something about the choir, because this, I heard it from Dr. Lam said this is so many people want to learn about the choir. And also, I believe all of you by Google, you can get so many informations there and about the choir. So I just summarized what I learned from my experience, my practice, or from some deep mountain you guys did not have a chance to go there, and then share something maybe a little bit different from online Google information. And if I did not cover something, feel free to ask later. I will talk about three very simple things summarized from three aspects. First of all, we just want to clarify a little bit about Kwa, this Chinese word. It's why we're using Kwa and instead of translation, because to tell you the truth, even in Chinese dictionary, they are not very clear. And traditionally, they using a word, a side with a bone side, and modern dictionary, they using a word with a left side with a like muscle. So that it make a lot of people confused, even they know Chinese. They don't know, is that talk about the bones or talk about muscle or anything else? And so many people ask if it is pelvis or hips. They are all correct, but not really. In the tradition dictionary, there says it is a very top part between two legs. And a modern Chinese dictionary said it between waist and legs. That's from dictionary. It's not that important that from dictionary, because we really wanted to know the meaning for health side and for practice Tai Chi. So for a close relationship, Chinese tradition medicine dictionary, it says a part include pelvis, include hips, and also include the muscles, tender, blood, and qi inside the pelvis and hips. So that closer to our Tai Chi terms. In Tai Chi terms, and the tradition book and the tradition practitioner, grandmasters from different family styles, they are similar, talk about the Kwa, whatever Yang style or Chen style. But they all say Kwa is very important for Tai Chi. Even the most important Bible-like Tai Chi theory, which called the Tai Chi Quan Jing and the Tai Chi Quan Luan from Zhang Sanfeng. And there is a famous sentence said, if you don't satisfy your Tai Chi and you don't feel right, go to look closely to your legs and waist. I think the words still confuse a lot of people. So that I studied all this Tai Chi philosophy, tradition Chinese medicine, of course, from tradition Tai Chi book, Tai Chi theory, and from modern side of, I'm sorry, from grandmasters. My experience, what I want to give my explanation is for the physical side, I'm more agree with the Chinese tradition medicine dictionary. Means it's not only bones, not only muscles, not only hips, not only pelvis. It includes all that area and everything, muscles, blood, tender, and most importantly, Dan Tian Qi. And if we check Google, there are more explanation on physical side. But Tai Chi is yin and yang. The physical side, if we say it's the yang side, but the yin side sometimes is even more important, which is the Dantian side. And all this physical part of Kwa and Qi from Dantian, they perfectly formed a Tai Chi symbol, the yin and yang big ball, black and white picture. And everything, when we practice, we can go back to that picture to explain more easy and clear, because Tai Chi is based on that picture and the philosophies behind the picture. So that's the first thing I simply give my explanation. The second, why Tai Chi Kwa is so important. I think important for both health side and enjoy practice Tai Chi form. By many of us, when we started to learn Tai Chi, mostly we are more focused on physical side and more define which style we do. Or yang style, your hands has to be that, and chin style, you have to be that. It's mostly from physical. And then when people criticize another people, which when we pass a certain level, we don't do that. But in the beginning, we don't know. So that many of us, in the beginning, we will say, oh, you are not doing correctly. And yang style should be like hands like put here. And sing style should there. So when we hear this, especially from our students, participants, we know their level, so that we will nicely to get them slowly to know Tai Chi level, and the Tai Chi practice is more on Kwa, inside of the Kwa. It's when we have Tai Chi Kwa practiced, where our hands put, where our feet put, how we step, it will well solve many problems, just like what we just quoted from Zhang Sanfeng. Everything is not right. We go back to our legs and waist, but actually he did not mention Kwa, but the meaning, it is refers to Kwa. And why is it important? Another example is when Yang Luchan taught in Beijing, the royal family. And one of the famous people later on created Wu style. And his name Wu Jianquan. When Yang Luchan retired and go back to hometown, and Wu Jianquan asked his Shifu Yang Luchan, Shifu, did you taught me all your wonderful Tai Chi? Yang Luchan said, yes, I taught you all what I know. And then Wu Jianquan asked again, Shifu, if you tell me last thing, what I should pay attention, closely pay attention to my Tai Chi? Yang Luchan said, your Kwa. Don't go outside of your Kwa when you do Tai Chi or when you're using Tai Chi application, because at that time they're using Tai Chi for fighting a lot also. So from these two quotations, we know those most great masters, they say Tai Chi Kwa is important. And then from modern medical study, we know inside the Kwa, we have all our important health organs there. Include, we are human beings, we give birth of young generation, we keep our human being grow. Those parts are most important. So we know for health, also by practice Tai Chi Kwa, that really help us our important health part, especially the reproduction system and the urogenital system, and the qi from circulation and blood, circulation from top body and lower body. Or else our qi and blood will easily stuck in the middle side, which is Kwa area. So that will cause the problem, the reproduction system, qi, blood circulation. and a lot. So that is for health. Of course, for health, there is more for whole body. It will affect. If we, for one example, if we don't pay attention to, even not practice Tai Chi, even for daily life, we get a lot of, many times, the cold moisture qi inside our tailbone, which also important part of the Qua. And then gradually, it will cause spine problem, and also cause back pain, and eventually cause headache and brain problem. I don't list a lot of research, although I do research, but you can Google it. That's for health side. It's so important. For Tai Chi side, even we say it's important, because from what Yang Luchan talked to his disciple, we know for sure, because he asked him the last thing, the most important thing. And Yang Luchan mentioned is Qua. It's not only from these great masters. From our practice, we also know without Tai Chi Qua practiced well, every of our steps not stable. And even we want to do Tai Chi, like Dr. Lam always talked, slow, smooth, and alignment. All those principles depends on Tai Chi Qua. Without a Tai Chi Qua, we even cannot do commencement correctly. So how we do steps correctly? That's for Tai Chi, Tai Chi side. Of course, there are more like balance, like even memory is caused by the Qua, the lower part, the tailbone, the Qua area. And Tai Chi form also, if we want to put the whole body as a whole, we practice Tai Chi as a whole, combine, coordinate with the upper body and the lower body. And without Tai Chi Qua, we can also hardly do that. And even kicking and sneak down, we cannot do that safely if our Qua is stiff, not well practiced. That's why Dr. Lam also mentioned, don't kicking high. It's danger, don't go too low before we reach a certain level. But after we learn Qua and practice correctly, when we have a good, better Tai Chi Qua, then you can feel, you can kicking high, still controllable. You can go in low, still easier to getting up and more stable. That's why Tai Chi Qua is so important. But we already know what is Qua and why it's important, so that we leave how to practice a Tai Chi Qua later for when we have another opportunity. Okay, Dr. Lam, I think everybody, once we know how important, and then find a good teacher and how to practice get a Tai Chi Qua is most important. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Hong. That's a great talk. I wish we have more time. Of course, we can spend days talking about this. And I love the way she defined the Qua, because people have different definition, also a different way to talk about Qua. And what I'm going to do is to approach it slightly different way. First of all, I'd like you to imagine the quad is the pelvis and the hip. So the pelvis is like a basin, and the hip is like the legs that support the basin. This basin holds the reproductive system, that's the sexual organs and the uterus, and it holds the whole body, and that itself is so important. The other thing that's so important is here it sits and control and protect the qi, the dantian. So I'm going to show you some anatomical work, but before I do that, let me just remind you that I will send you a recording afterwards. So even for people who miss the amazing talk by Hong, you will get a recording of it. And then after my talk, there will be question time on this topic. And then if we have time, we'll answer topics that you submit before. And I would like to fit in some time for you to meet people from different parts of the world. Okay, now let me show you a picture of what the pelvis and the hip look like. I will share screen with you. So you can see that pelvis is like a basin that hold up the organ, and the hips are two legs that supports it. And don't worry about all those words. Let's see the next picture, and I'll explain further. Next picture, please. So here, those are the pelvic bones, and at the bottom of the pelvic bone, those are the pelvic floor muscles. That's like a net that catching and holding all the structures above that. And the pelvic floor muscles are very important. I'll talk about that later, but just think of it as a net underneath. Next picture, please. And I'm going to put them together in a minute. Remember the pelvic floor muscle, like a net? So this is the spine. You can see the green things, they're called multifidus. You don't have to remember them. Those are thick fibrous tissues that connect between the spine and the body. So they are holding the spine. This multifidus is like the backbone, really protect the back. And that's really important. I'm going to talk about that too. So the multifidus, the pelvic floor muscles, and then next picture, please. So in the front, just underneath your stomach, this area called transverse abdominis, we often call it TA. That's the thickest inner layer that holds the stomach organs in there. And I'll explain again. So just think back, front, lower, bottom is the net. And then we'll show you next picture. Okay, now this is the most important picture. If you have a look, that's the spine, and holding the spine in the back is the multifidus. In the front, holding the stomach is the transverse abdominis. At the bottom, that's the pelvic floor muscle. On the top is the diaphragm. So if you just visualize that, the top two muscles, the front and the back muscles, is a muscular corset. These muscles are called the stabilizers muscles or the core muscles. This muscle holds the back. Of course, we need a spine for us to operate and protect the most important organs. The stabilizers are really important. They have a lot to do with qi, energy, and of course, our topic, qua. So let's stop the photos, and I will just talk to you a little bit more so you can see my body as well. Those muscles are amazing. They work as a unit. So, and they work differently from other muscles of the body. The multifidus, the pelvic floor, and the transverse abdominis work as a unit. So if you contract the pelvic floor muscle, the transverse abdominis contract, the multifidus contract, And that means it forms a protection, a muscular corset to protect your back and your abdominal organ. So likewise, if you contract the TA, it contracts all three. So it's like a protection shield. Once it activates one, it activates the rest. So here, remember we're talking about the quad, that pelvic floor here. The pelvic floor muscle is the key of the quad, but it is connected to the multifidus and the transverse abdominis. Also is connected to the diaphragm, the two dome-like structures sitting at the bottom of the lung. They are amazing. So those four structures are interconnected and related by breathing. So when you move your quad, it's got to do with those structures further connected to the body. When you breathe in, your diaphragm push down to open up more lung space. And that diaphragm is also connected to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is in charge of relaxation, repair, and calming. And of course, by pushing it down, it opens up more lung space. So your lung space increased by 20%. You have more oxygen, you have more calm, your body start repairing. You can see how good it is for the body. So, and then when you breathe out, you contract your pelvic floor muscle, your transverse abdominis, your multifidus all contract. At the same time, it's push the diaphragm up by contracting. It creates a pressure, then push the diaphragm up, and that expels the air completely. So this helps the circulation by controlling the breathing of that pelvic floor muscle. It contracts. It controls the upper part of the body and the strength of the spine. So if you think about it, Tai Chi is an internal art. It specializes in giving us inner strength. What is the inner strength and inner power? When you have more oxygen, when you have more qi, when you have stronger spine, when you have stronger support at the pelvis, you are getting more inner power. But going back to the pelvic floor muscle, it's the nets. You can't really move it except contracting and let go. When it contracted gently, what it does is it contracts the multifidus, the transverse, and it activates this whole system to protect your back, and at the same time, activate the whole system to make it stronger. So your back becomes stronger, your body becomes stronger. And in Tai Chi, we talk about song your quad, which is I'm connecting that to what Hong was saying about songing your quad. What does it mean? How to song your quad? There's the hip, there's the pelvis. Well, the pelvic bone, you can't really song the bone, but what you can do is you can open up your hip. If you do this, that's not songing, right? If you do this, opening up, that's song your hip. But if you do this, you can see it crowds in and things doesn't move. But if you open up, then it creates a nice environment for the pelvic floor muscle to contract, for the stomach or the chi to grow, to be cultivated, creating the right environment. And when you move too, you can move this way and that crossing, so you're not songing your hip or not songing your quad. But if you allow it to go sideways, in other words, you put a bit more force in the outer edge of your foot, and you allow this to arch, so that is the songing of the quad. In fact, you can join me sitting down and just sit comfortably and feel you make a arch with your crutch, and then put a little bit more force in the edge of your foot or feet, and feel the difference when you're crossing this way. You don't feel your hip being strong, right? Yeah, you can stand up and do that, or you can sit down and feel the difference. And then you do your dantian breathing. As you song, you can breathe in and gently open, let your stomach open up, and that expand your abdominal space. Therefore, by breathing in, expand your abdominal space, that create a negative pressure, and then bring your diaphragm down without you having to know you're doing that, and that open up the lung. And then when you breathe out, contract your pelvic floor muscle, you create the pressure, push your diaphragm up, and your air goes up. Now, if you try to make it's much harder for you to do that breathing, to the abdominal breathing. So with the quad, the big thing is to song your quad, song your joints. Allow your joint to be open, your hip to be open and not locked in. And that you can maintain that as you go around. So, you don't have to know all the anatomy. You don't have to understand all those pictures. All you have to do is think of, focus on my breathing, posture got to be right. When your posture is upright, your multifidus get activated. If your posture is not, your multifidus doesn't work. So your posture is right, you song your quad, and maintain that songness even though you shift weights. And when you start thinking of your dantian breathing, you'll find your qi flows more powerfully and your tai chi flow more effectively. So that is combining scientific finding to the ancient Chinese finding. That way of songing the quad, that way of dantian breathing is so ingenious that my Chinese ancestors able to see that. But having the scientific study make it so much easier and more effective. You can point down to what we have to do. Contract the pelvic floor muscle, and that will activate all the other muscles. I hope that this will give you a feeling that while it's so deep and important, but it's also can be doable, quite easy to do. And then if you incorporate into your Tai Chi practice, as you more practice feeling songing the quad, you gradually feel more power and more Qi and more flows in your Tai Chi movement. Okay, that's Hong and me welcome any questions.
Hi, Paul. I have a couple of questions here. You've probably covered quite a few of this, but here is one. How do you know when you have truly opened your qua?
You feel good, and well, I don't know about truly. What is truly open? What is truly perfect? Nobody's perfect. One, you just have to understand this broad principle and work within your comfort zone and practice well within your comfort zone. And of course, Hong and me cannot tell you everything about the qua in 35 minutes. There's so much in it. We want to tell you the most important things that you can use. And of course, a lot of it depends on you to work it out. But work within your comfort zone, follow your Tai Chi teachers, and if you like, follow my principles that I taught in other places.
And here's one more. If you do seated Tai Chi, how do you song your qua?
The same. do what you can, as I show you. Whatever you cannot do, visualize.
Yeah, okay. This is just one more, very similar. Is opening of the choir ever present, like walking or sitting, or is it something that must be done?
Of course, it's like Tai Chi. You can never do it all the time, everywhere. You do whenever you think of it and you feel comfortable to, and gradually, you will bring your body to a healthy and better place. I would love to hear what Hong thinks about some of these questions.
First question I've already answered there in the chat. And the main idea is, like Dr. Lam said, we just talked the important thing. And also for me, I'm not like Dr. Lam teach almost all of you. I'm not familiar with everyone. So for the question, how to truly, we cannot truly completely reach the qua the best way, but we can know we're getting better and better. First, I would ask you to personally ask your teacher, or ask your teacher show you. There is several movements they can explain to you better because they know you. It's a different level, but if we show everybody the same thing, it may hurt some beginners or Tai Chi friends. What else? Another, seated Tai Chi. My experience is when we sit, our qua part already very loose because we can hardly stiff. When we sit there, we loose, we more loose, or not only qua, not whole body. So at that time, it's to hold the qua, like Yang Luchan said, it's in the circle of our own range, instead of continuously thinking song because we've already sung when we sit. What another one?
We just have one more here. How can replacement hips impact on the qua?
That one I know. She's my friend. I will talk to her individually this weekend, this coming weekend. I have she will go to my workshop. Okay,
that's great
question. Okay.
We've had quite lots of people saying thank you very much and how they've enjoyed it and how interesting it has been, and how they didn't really understand before. They maybe knew something but didn't know the name. They maybe knew the name but didn't know anything else. And they've really think this has been a wonderful, wonderful talk. And they're looking forward to, I think, getting the recording as well so that they can make notes again. It's very interesting and very informative, really, for everybody, because people didn't know enough before, or they thought they knew something, but they didn't know. They wanted to know more. So it's been fantastic, Hong. Thank you. From me as well.
Thank you, Lula. Yeah, I really like Hong's definition that there are different ways of defining it. So people can mean different things. That's why we kind of clarify what we're talking about: the pelvis, the hip, and all that area at the waist. And Jackie have a question. Go ahead, Jackie. Unmute yourself. Probably if you can give your question on the chat, then either Nuala or Ernie can tell us. It might be easier. But Jackie, can you unmute yourself? Jackie, what? You have a question. You raise your hand. No, you press your hand by mistake. Okay. Leanna.
Question about something I've been noticing when I work with older people, and when you mentioned that, you know, it's hard for us when we sit not to open the qua. but I'm working with older people that were taught to close their legs when they sit to be proper. And so I bring that up to them about how tight that makes them, because I'm also a massage therapist. And I think that's what we're talking about, that when we bring our legs closer, it tightens the whole quad. And it's true whether you're laying down or standing up. If your feet are together, it tightens the quad. Is that a good simplistic explanation of?
Oh, I like that. I like that very much. But listen, bear in mind, we have so many people. It's going to be much harder for you to raise your hands. Please write on chat, and Ernie and Nula will bring it to us. That would be easier for us to, otherwise, many people ask the same question, and make it easier for us to share with everybody.
How do you use the word qua in sentences in Chinese way?
Say it again, please.
How you use the word qua in sentence? When you're talking, do you use the word qua, and if so, how do you use it?
In normal life, we have a very famous story said, 韩信受胯下之辱. Dr. Lam, you want to say it in English?
Say that again.
韩信受胯下之辱.
Wow, that's an interesting story. Okay, Han Xing is one of the most famous general in Han Dynasty. And when he was a young man, he wasn't a general. He was a scholar, strategist, and he's actually not very physically strong, but he carried a sword to show people he really understands about military strategy. So then one of the big guys who want to bully him and tell him, wow, you look like so good. Either you can fight me or you crawl between my legs. And Han Xing actually know that he can't defeat this guy. So he actually crawled between his legs, between the legs, that's the quad. So that is the Chinese proverb of underneath the quad. Anyway, Han Xing became one of the greatest generals, and he really helped the emperor win the whole empire, but he never punished that guy. So also he shows the example of, even though you can be so learned, but you can also sort of be flexible and be able to survive. And it's obviously a huge insult for him to do that, but he knew that for him to survive, he had to do that. And when he was the national general, he could have easily beheaded that guy, but he didn't. So that shows he's got a big heart. I hope that's a story. So that just explains the quad.
Thank you, Dr. Lam. It's so wonderful, the story. See, Chinese words using a few words, but there is a long story. We always using this short sentence, but we know some people, if they learn history, I tested Dr. Lam. Dr. Lam is great. So why I mentioned this, not only answer your question, and also I did not finish the question, how to get a good qua, is forget the qua. It's work with our personality. If we humble, we nice, we mercy, we open heart, we respect, we will have more chance to learn from a very good teacher. Not only qua, but improve our Tai Chi.
Just to let you know one more time that all of you registered will eventually receive a link from me on the recording of this forum.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Lam. I think we should probably go and meet one another.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So we'll just spend a few minutes in a breakout room, getting to know one another, and we'll come back to close the meeting. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Go ahead and count, Dr. Lam, and I'll take the picture.
Everybody smile. 1, 2, 3. And let's do a greeting. 1.
Oh, wait, sorry, 1 second, and I'll be ready. Okay, go ahead.
1, 2, 3. But
Whoops,
will
I think
you
I
make
made a mistake.
different pages, Evan?
I might, yeah, I could probably do it multiple times. Go ahead and do that greeting one more time. Sorry, I'll just, it'll take a second for me to get through the pages. So just do the greeting, everyone. Okay, that's our first page. Hang on. And
Yeah, probably easy for you to say 1, 2, 3, Evan, since I can't.
sure. Here's the next page, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And let's see how many more pictures of people with cameras on that we have. Let's see, one more. Yep, one more page. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And let's see. Sorry, everyone. I'll just check if the fourth page.
A lot of that.
Yeah, there are 4 pages. Okay, a couple more people. So last one, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Done. Excellent. Amazing. And then I'll just ask everyone, in a moment, I'm going to share with you the survey that allows you to vote for next month's topic. So Dr. Lim, if you'd like to talk more about that, I'll share that.
Yes, the next month's topic, we distilled down to 2, and your input is really important. And of course, also you're welcome to send any suggestions for future topics. You can see that like today, the QA, well, everything about Tai Chi has so many depths, so many layer depths, and I would try to invite the best expert. And this time we have a wonderful, amazing expert to join me to talk about this. And I'm really happy to be able to approach it in different ways and to give you a kind of the most important tips of what it is. And you know, sometimes the most profound ways can be most simple. Nature is simple. So we try to demystify Tai Chi and remystify it with practice and feel, because Tai Chi is about really how you feel, how you work on it. And then you discover all those depths. But what we're trying to give you is directions. And if you need further resources, email us, and I'm sure Hong and myself would offer you more resources, what's appropriate. And now, was there anyone with, before I officially close this, anyone have really important questions that you put in, Ernie and Nulat? Was there anybody have question that you feel I need to answer now?
I do. If someone said put your weight on the right quad, is that what, would that be a good, the right sentence? Right way to use the quad?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand the question.
Okay,
Was it
someone said, okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
who's speaking? Did it?
Lisa? Lisa Horst?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, if someone said, put your weight on your right quad, is he using the word quad in the right way? Tai Chi way.
Well, there's many ways to use the qua, but if you remember what we define, Hong and me defined it, the qua is the hip, pelvis, and this area. And
Right.
you can say right part of the qua, but you really can't say your right qua. That
That's what I
doesn't
thought.
seem right. But you know, people have different ways of saying things. I prefer not to be here to say what is wrong, but rather what we believe is useful for us. That's what we're doing. We're going to share what's useful for everybody.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I guess Ernie and Nuala didn't have any new questions. I'm going to officially close this. I want you to know that there is at the same forum at how many hours time? 8, 9 hours time. So it's really bad time for USA guys, but it's really good for Europeans. And that's why we have 2 forums. You're welcome to come to both. Just stay awake till 4 o'clock in the morning, like Ernie, who's amazingly joining us to keep the consistency. And of course, I was saying you do recording and with the forum, with the European time, it will be similar. And Hong won't be there because it would be not fair to ask her to wake up there early in the morning, but we'll share the recording of the talk. And then I will talk fresh. And so each forum will do it for 2 time zones. We are a global community with a big world. And I really love the opportunity to have a second go to talk again about this wonderful topic. I really like to thank my team, Ernie, Nuala, Evan, and all the master trainer who came to help as well. Kitty, Darcy, a lot of people who come up in the morning, especially my very special invited guest, Hong. She's really, I don't know about her English, it sounds great to me. Certainly, her Chinese is so great, and it's really good to have her with that authentic ability to understand classical texts and modern texts and really understand Tai Chi. So I think that's really fantastic to have this opportunity for us to work together. The key is that for us to be together, you know, share time, share friendship. And I hope you will tell your friends and keep coming back to the forum. We're going to do it every month, first Sunday. And I will send the recording. Give me some time to do that. Lorraine have something to say? I'm going to have to conclude this, and then I'll stay here, and you're welcome to say anything. And you want to hear what Lorraine's questions, you're welcome. So for the purpose of time, I'm going to officially say goodbye to everybody, and thank you for coming. See you next time. And then we stay here and talk still. Yeah.
And everyone is saying, thank you very much, Dr. Lam. On the chats and everywhere else, you're getting well over 100, almost 200. Thank you for a wonderful, wonderful forum. Very much appreciated from everyone.
Thank you
Right.
very much.
Thank you. Lorraine, you want to say something? Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
Dr. Lam, this is by far the most easy to understand and comprehensive explanation lecture on the Qua in relation to Tai Chi and movement. And I just wonder whether you consider putting onto YouTube so that I can let my participants. We cannot do it as good as you and Hong. we will try, but we would not be able to do this as good as you. But I just wonder whether a segment of it or whatever could someday go on YouTube.
Lorraine, you bring a really important point here. I was saying everybody recording, and I will say this recording is free to forward to everyone, and you will be a link to the YouTube.
Oh, okay.
We want to share with as many people as possible.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Thanks for that. Cheers. Beautiful.
Hi, Lorraine.
Dr. Lamb, I have been on another Zoom conference all day long and yesterday too, and just now got online with you. So I'm so grateful to learn that you're going to send the recording to us. That was my question, and thank you so much.
Thanks. Good to see you. Make sure you are registered so that everybody who registered will receive a recording. If you don't get it, give me at the most up to 10 days. If you don't get it, email service, and because anti-spam softwares are vicious. They swallow everything.
We're taking care of Ann Plyler. We're taking care of Ann Plyler in Asheville. Yeah, in Asheville, we're taking care of our friend there. Ann, good to see you, Ann.
Good to see you, Ernie.
Dr. Lam, I would like to say this is so wonderful. The first event for the year of Tiger. I cannot answer all of your questions, and thank you, all of you here on the chat. But I say thank you very much, everybody. And you all know Dr. Lam's email, but I see some friends ask a question. Maybe you want to ask me a question. Go to Dr. Lam's TCHI, find the California, United States, California, find my name. I'm one of the master trainer. So you can email me or email me at my last name first, Yang Hong, HONG 9922@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hong, for being here and for sharing your wonderful knowledge with everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ruth?
Yes, I just wanted to say that this is my first time seeing you, well, live, because I've seen you in plenty of videos, but I've never been able to get to one of your workshops when you've come here in the United States. So I'm so thrilled to hear you and see you. And I also took a workshop with Hong a couple of years ago. We did the basic 13, and so it's just nice to see both of you.
Oh, thank you very much. I remember that. I will
You remember that with
one.
Julie Oberhaus? It was wonderful.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it was in
We'll have
Lowell.
another
Yes, right.
one this coming weekend.
Oh,
I
very
remember.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice. So it's just wonderful to see both of you. And I have done a little bit of research on Qua before I came here, and this just kind of enhanced it for me. So I really appreciate it very much.
Ruth, you must be from New England. This is Ernie here. So keep watch, because
Yes.
we're trying to get back, Dr. Lamb, back to New England in about 4 months. So keep watching for that announcement.
Yes, I'm from Massachusetts, and
I know,
Julie
so am I.
Oberhaus is my
Yes,
and
so am I.
Julie
Hope to
Oberhaus is
see
my
you.
master trainer. Yeah,
Hope to
nice to
see you
meet you.
soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Helga, go ahead.
Thank you. It was amazing, as usual, and I hope to hear it again tonight. My question is, people who have hip replacements or knee replacements, I know we don't give medical advice, but do we need to mention anything in our classes in case people do have hip and knee replacements? Are there any precautions they have to take?
Okay, we always start with talking to the doctor and a health professional to get the proper advice. So that's always our precursor. Okay, talk to your doctor first. Having said that, the other thing I would say, the treatment is the same. Visualize, do well within your comfort zone, and make sure that's one thing about hip replacement is you don't want to cross the other side. Of course, the doctor should tell them that. So that's not our place. They just got to follow the doctor's advice and do well within comfort zone and visualize whatever. Otherwise, I don't think there's any real difference as far as I'm concerned.
Having had two hip replacements in Asheville, and being a physical therapist and teaching people about precautions, so much about the way hip procedures are done now. Oftentimes there are no precautions at all, not even if it's an anterior approach. We don't have to worry about crossing the midline. That's one of the benefits of that approach. But so much has changed in the way of orthopedic surgery just in the last 10 years that you're talking to the doctor and being assured of that. But if a person comes in and says, my doctor didn't tell me any precautions, it may be that there aren't any precautions for them now. So just throwing that out there.
Wow, and this is so helpful. Thank you very much. I mean, you couldn't get a better advice from a physical therapy who have hip replacement. Thank you, Ang. That's so great. Yeah. Patricia, go ahead.
Okay, so I am also a physical therapist who just had a hip replacement.
Welcome to the club.
And I'm gonna probably get my other one pretty soon. You know, that was one of the big problems. I could not open at the quad with, you know, the arthritis in the hip. It just was not allowing me to externally rotate. And I had anyway, but it's better now. But yeah, if you have, some of the doctors still do the posterior approach, and that's when you can't bend forward and you can't cross because they pop the hip out this way. When they do the anterior approach, they pop it out backwards. And really, you're not going to do a whole lot of extension movements. So there really are no precautions if you have an anterior approach. So it's really nice. You don't have to be on blood thinners that you inject. You're just on aspirin. You don't have to have dressing changes because they have a waterproof bandage on it for 10 days. And you go home after, some of them are outpatient, but you just spend one night in the hospital and then go home. So yeah, so there's a lot of changes with that. And I was reading in your book and it said, don't cross your leg over. And I'm going, so anyway, so thanks for bringing that up, Ann, because that was what I was going to say also.
Well,
yes.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, I hope in my book I did say that eventually follow your doctor's advice. I know things are dated, and I love to hear Dr. Raymond Lau's idea too. But when I talk about the hip open, it's not external rotation. It's like allow it to be more rounded and a little bit more weight on the outer edge. Yeah. So certainly, again, the rotation is, again, depends on individual. Your rheumatologist or your orthopedic surgeon's advice is the final answer, or your physical therapist advice will be the final answer. What do you think, Raymond?
Yeah, so I was just commenting that in some Tai Chi teaching, they explain the opening of the quad as the rotation of the hip joint, which I think may be one way to look at it, but actually it can be a little bit more so-called broad. And I like the way you explain it as just putting your body weight, feeling your weight more on the outside of the sole of the feet. Because to achieve that, it's not just the external rotation of the hip joint, but there's actually the whole movement of the lower limb and the pelvis and the dantian or the core muscles that can achieve that. And so each of us can practice in such a way that is within our safety and comfort zone and still feel that balancing of the weight a bit more on the outside. And I think that will also help us open up the song the quad without being too focused just on the external rotation of the hip joint.
Thank
I
you,
agree.
Raymond. And for the our friends who are not familiar with our chair of the Institute, Dr. Raymond is a rheumatologist. So it's good to have rheumatologists, physical therapists, and a retired doctor to give those advice. So mine's the oldest since I retired. But it's good to have, yeah. Then I'm saying Hillary's another physiotherapist. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to be back, and I agree with those other two physical therapists that spoke. I mean, I personally have not yet got to the point where I need a hip replacement, but absolutely, it's about moving within your comfort zone, and there are very few limitations, especially now that certainly here in Australia, they're doing much more of the anterior approach. I haven't seen a patient have a posterior approach total hip replacement for many years. I have a few participants in my classes that have had total hip replacements, and they're all doing very well and fine. Practicing Tai Chi post-surgery has been a great help to speeding up their recovery.
Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that one is done. And then what's next, Dr. Lam? Oh wait, I have. Sorry, I guess I should do one more because I have two pages. Hold on 1 second. We'll do one more of the same one. Okay.
Oh, are they 2 pages?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, we have 2.
Okay. So I'll just do another one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then what would you like, Dr. Lam?
Oh, a wave? Okay.
And I'll start with page 1. Waving, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And hang on, sorry, just a second. And oops. Page 2, everyone waving. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Great. Dr. Lam, was there more?
No, unless anybody like to do any more. We have an opportunity to have a quick talk just now. I hope you enjoy meeting people from the family. We are a wonderful big family. I was made aware of this, that in this challenging time, just being here together, and sometimes you feel, I love to shake hands with people and just touching people, sort of you feel connected with people. That's part of my medical practice, I can't do that anymore. And so perhaps it's time for us to be more mindful of connecting with our own body, the breathing, the downtown breathing, and the mindful of using your quad. And if you get my email, just write to me. In my email, I insert a link, the 5-minute Tai Chi for improved immunity and health. That can be shared with anybody. It's free, so I can advertise it. It's a link on the YouTube. So things like that, perhaps we can share more and help people to be learning to cope with this and learning to learn new skills that are going to make us stronger from inside and us share with more people.
Dr. Lam, I just put into the chat the link to our survey for the next topic. So there's just a very quick survey. It's a link to a form that you can fill out. And thank you for doing that, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone.
Yeah, I really want to talk about things that's relevant to everybody, but that also come from your help. You need to let us know what works for you, and write to me anytime. As you know, my email is everywhere. The email start with Dr. Paul Lam. I check myself, and I will answer everybody. Sometimes take me a while. Sometimes it will be very short, but I answer everybody. If you don't hear an answer from me in a couple of weeks, then it probably went to the anti-spam file right again. I really love to hear from everybody. I love to be connecting with my friends and share Tai Chi together.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Pat. Okay, so as usual, this is time past 1 o'clock. So I'm going to say goodbye officially to everybody, but you can hang around and we can talk some more for a little while. Meanwhile, come next month, bring your friends.